Hi Cooper. So today we're going to be working on the BMW E92, which is the same as the E90 E91, and we're going to be doing the front track rod ends, inner and outer, and the bottom arm. The only reason we're doing them is because the rubbers are deteriorated and they won't pass an MOT. Okay, so that's the bottom end of the track rod end. The rubber's worn away in that, and we're going to be taking off the clip at the end of the boot. That clip there, slide that back and take the whole unit off as one. The bottom arm is one nut we'll need to hold in there, take that one off, and the bottom arm, the rubber is away on this, which is down there. We'll be replacing that arm there. Right, so underneath the car, if I can get in properly, need to unclip these one time screws. It will come off eventually, just break them off. Try not to damage the rubber. That's one off. And for the small clamp, squeeze together and pull off. And then the boot should slide right off, revealing that joint there. We'll try and get off. So what we want to do now is a big pair of Stilsons, just free it off the now till we get to the other side. Alright, that's it. Freed off. We want to loosen this off next. So next is the top nut of the track rod end. It's a 21mm. Is it a 21? Yep, 21mm, just to crack this open. A bit of persuasion. And they're loose. Right, with any luck it'll come loose without having to put the torques on top. I have cleaned it up, so hopefully it'll come out without having to put the torques. Which, if you had to do it normal, the torques, you need a 21mm spanner on the nut, and then your torques sit in there and just hold that with your ratchet. But I think this is going to come off without it, so yep, it's coming off without spinning. And we chop with a hammer. And that's the track rod end. Now look at that end. And you can see the rubber in at the bottom arm where it's all perished, that we'll need to change as well. So next off is unscrewing this by hand. Then we need to get the length of the new parts to join that. Now I've already tried separating the tractor rod end and making a groove in it, but it's stuck solid, hence the reason I'm having to put inners and outers. So we'll just unscrew that from the end. They can only go as far as they go. You don't need to worry about measuring length or anything until you've got the whole thing off. The end of that nut goes in as far as it goes, and that's as far as you get with that. So, and there, there's your runners and outer track rod end off. So we'll get our new ones. We'll put some copper grease in the grooves in here and on the wee nut that holds it, and we'll measure up. Because this won't separate, I'm going to have to get a grinder wheel out, cut that in half. But first of all, we'll count how many threads are on this, give us a rough idea, then we'll measure it all together, laid out, how long it should be. Okie dokie. So for the end of the gaiters, you need 2 Jubilee clamps, unless you're going to put the original ones back on, and they are, I think it's 55 by 70mm. I'm going to try and get ones that are a bit thinner than that, they're just a bit too thick. But I can still put a button on and then put them on after that. Those astute watching have probably noticed that the under tray is off. It makes it easier to get in about all the parts. So we'll start assembling this and try and get it in some sort of same length, but we'll grease it all with copper grease, so when they come to do the tracking, it makes it so much easier to move everything about, okay? Right, so we've got them lined up square as much as possible. Obviously we still need to do a tracking, but I've copper greased all this, so now I'll make a mark on that there for how many threads it is. I'll need to cut this to get the boot off because I'm a stingy old git, because I'm not going to buy a new one when there's nothing wrong with that yet. And we'll put that back in together. Alright, so now, after it's all measured up, it's just a matter of repeating the process, putting it back in place, tightening the nut up there. Plenty of copper grease inside it so it can be adjusted for the tracking. The boot is back on along that clip. The rear one I need to get a smaller, thinner Jubilee clip, but the size that I mentioned earlier on. So next task is this bush out here and this one down the bottom for the bottom arm where the rubber's deteriorated there. Right, so 18mm spanner in that end, 18mm socket just fits in that end. You could probably do with a longer socket, but I managed to get in with that. It's a 21mm for the nut at the bottom of the arm, as you can see. And I've already broke that free with a big torque bar. That gives you a bit of ratchet movement, and I've broke that free there. But first of all, I'll take this end off with a smaller ratchet handle with a spanner there. That should come off no problem. I'll get back to you when I've got the other bit done. Right, so the nut's off that end. I'll leave the bolt in place for now till I loosen that off, and we'll see where we are from there. Hopefully we don't have to put the jack underneath here. That'll put pressure on that, pushes up so you doesn't spin. But we'll soon see. There's not a great deal. I did get wire brush before, but we'll see how we go. Alright, so I've had to put the jack underneath because it is spinning. I'm hoping that's enough pressure on it. We can try and pump up a bit more, get as much pressure on that bottom ball joint as possible, and then that nut should just come free. Right, that done the trick, putting the jack underneath it. A lot of strain on it. Don't try and have this one for too much because it puts a lot of strain on the top springs. So let it down gently when you're bringing it down. As you can see, the springs are starting to decompress. We'll bring this down now. And that is the bottom arm. Just a matter of chopping it now, hopefully with a hammer. And it should come out. And success. Right. And one arm free. When you're replacing it, mine replace a tab. Tab sits on top, like so, and then the nut on top. So we can now take the top bolt off and just replace. We'll clean up all this crap round here, and then we'll replace it with a new arm. Easy as that. So there we go, new arm in place. Again, to jack the bottom of that up, put a bit of rag underneath it so you don't scrape the new one. That will save you having to use a torch at the top. Tighten that one up first, because you'll need the movement up here for this bolt. While it's up at the top, that's putting pressure on it. That's when you want to tighten that bolt up there. Yeah. And that's basically that side all done, just the tyre to go on. Then the other track rod then to do the other side. The other arm's fine. It was just the rubber was goosed on that one, and we'll pass an MOT. So the arm itself was fine. So that's how you do the track rod ends, inner and outer, and the bottom arm for the BMW E90 X series. So 91, 92, 90. This is the coupe one, but they're all basically the same underneath. Okay, thanks for watching.